Are you an experienced sewer?
Yes.
Are there a few things on your list for Christmas that you haven't been able to buy yourself this year?
Yes.
Do you think you're worth some extra special treats?
Oh, yes.
Then keep tuned because we've got the list for you. Welcome back to our channel. I'm Nikki.
And I'm Rachel and we're the Stitch Sisters.
We've got another one of our gift guide videos for you, and this one is for the experienced sewer. So these are little gifts and little treats that you would need if you are an experienced dressmaker, an experienced sewer, and they're just to add a little bit of extra to your sewing room.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that little, to be honest.
No.
I think that they're not quite. There's a couple of stocking fillers, but then they do get more pricey more quickly, and I do think that that's because these are the sorts of things that you might have wanted for a while, but you're just waiting for a special occasion for somebody to buy them for you, or maybe a little bit too expensive to treat yourself, or maybe you just need somebody to tell you you need one.
You need one,
and that's what we're here to do.
Yes.
Now, as in our previous one, we haven't been gifted any of these items, and we haven't been asked to plug any of these items. These are just the things that we thought would be really useful to have if you are moving towards a more experienced end of sewing. So first up is a stocking filler. It's also possibly a dangerous weapon, so just be careful with it. But one of the smallest things that's made the biggest difference to my sewing is a Tailors Awl. So a Tailors Awl is just a very sharp point, and it can be used for lots of different things. It's mainly designed for pattern drafting and for marking dart holes and that sort of thing, reference points on your patterns, but it's really great for any time you need to make a small hole in something. So in the garment industry, they use it to actually puncture through the fabric just before the point, and that prevents them from having to do markings on the fabric. It's a nice quick way to do it. But I've used it for everything from punching new holes in my belt to making something to hang my earrings on, but it's also really great for when you're making pattern adjustments and you want to pivot a pattern piece, because if you put that on top of a self-healing board, it will hold everything in place whilst you're moving it around. It costs just $3.99. It's made by So Easy, and you can get them from lots of different places, but this one has an ergonomic handle and is particularly easy to use, so that would be our recommendation.
Another one, if you're going into pattern drafting or if you make adjustments to your pattern, is a French curve. And this is another one from So Easy, and it's just $12.99. The one that we've linked up below is a metric one, but they do come with inches instead of centimeters. So you can have whichever one you need, whichever way you like to calculate things. And these are really good for making small adjustments, for redrawing armholes. You have the curve at the top, but you also have the straight line with all the measurements that you need, so they're really handy, and it's one of those things that you might not think you need one, but once you've got one, you use it all the time.
Yeah, especially if you are more than one pattern size and you need to blend between the sizes. That's probably what other than pattern drafting, that's probably what I use mine for most often, because the whole idea is it kind of replicates the curves of the body, so you don't have to worry about having to freehand them. So next up we have a couple of things that I didn't even realise I needed until I had them, and now I just couldn't do without them, especially if you fancy trying any kind of tailoring. But so first up is a seam roll, sometimes called a sleeve roll, and it's basically a long stuffed sausage. It's usually got wool on one side and cotton on the other, and what it's for is pressing open seams in really tricky to get to places. So that's why it's often called a sleeve roll, because when you're trying to press open the sleeve seam, then you've closed it as a tube, then you can feed your seam roll in, and then you can use that to press your seam on top of. So you could use a sleeve ironing board instead, but I often find that they leave indentations in the fabric and they're not quite small enough. So a seam roll is a really, really good way to get into all those little tricky places. So the one that we've recommended is made by Prim, and it's $13.99. We've just found we have a similar one in the studio. In fact, I think It's just behind us. I don't know if you can see
behind us.
But we find it's a really good quality one, so we can recommend it because we've used it.
So if you fancy the sleeve roll, you could also try the Tailors Ham, which is a slightly different shaped version of the sleeve roll. So it's more rounded and it's much denser. So you can use it for underneath your sleeves, you can use it for collars, you can use it for darts and that kind of thing. It's built the same way, so it's really compactly stuffed, and it's got a wool side and it's got a cotton side.
But it's also got a wide side and a narrow side.
Yes.
So really good for all sorts of different shapes.
Yeah, and you can turn it on its side, you can turn it on its end. They're really, really fantastic for pressing all of those tricky bits. And once you have one, I think you use it all the time.
Yeah, you wonder how you ever managed without. So next up is a book that I can highly recommend because I bought this earlier on in the year or possibly late last year, and I actually ended up gifting it to a student who I was teaching pattern drafting to because it's a very, very basic introduction to pattern drafting. But if you are just starting out and if you just want to understand the concepts, then this is a really, really useful book. It has lots of exercises throughout it so that you can actually put some of the things that you're learning into practice, but it's just called How Patterns Work, and it just explains in really, really simple ways with hand drawings that actually explain everything really, really well, how a 2D pattern becomes a 3D shape. And I think if you struggle with that, getting your head around how you can take something flat and curve it to the shape of the body, it really helps you to understand all those kind of shapes. So it's published by Assemble Books, it's available to buy on Amazon, and it's £17, and I can highly recommend it.
Bargain. So next up is one of our classes. Now we can't be doing a video without mentioning our lovely classes.
Gift, guys.
No,
because they'd be perfect for Christmas, of course.
So we wanted to point out the Coverstitch machine class. So if you're after a cover stitch for Christmas,
that's your big present.
Oh yes, then this is your perfect accompaniment. But we also have overlocker classes. So if you're having one of them, then an overlocker class would be perfect for you. So www.thisstitchsisters.co.uk, we've got lots of classes that you might love.
So next up, I think is a genius idea, and the reason why I think it's a genius idea is because I thought it was my idea, but it turns out somebody's beaten me to it. So I said to Nikki once, wouldn't it be brilliant if you could just get a set of sewing machine needles where you had all of the different ones that you needed, leather, jersey, denim, stretch, everything, and then whenever you needed one, you could just reach in and grab the one that you wanted. And it turns out that you can buy, not only can you buy that as a gift, but it comes in a nice little presentation tin as well. Klasse needles you'll probably recognise because they're available to buy from all decent haberdasheries, and they're really good quality make of needles. So there's a tin that you can buy, it's £21.99, and it comes with 42 different needles in 10 different types.
Wow.
So what that means is you're not getting a full set of 5 or 6 in each variation, but you don't necessarily need all of those, especially if it's covering them all. So it does include universal needles as well, so it will literally have everything that you need, even twin needles and needles for metallic threads.
Wow,
so I think that's such a good gift for somebody who's more experienced and at that stage where they know the importance of using the right needle for the right project, and they're also challenging themselves with trying some new projects and trying some different techniques
fabrics.
And different fabrics and different threads. So for £21.99, I think that's a really thoughtful gift, and it's definitely going on my Christmas list.
Ooh. Next we've got a point presser, and this is something that we recently bought when we were making our shirts for our shirt making class, and it's the kind of thing that if you wanted to get into tailoring, then it's a perfect gift. So you need the point presser to be able to iron and press the collar so that you're getting a really sharp collar. But it's also a really good, the base of it can be used as a clapper. So if you do any kind of other tailoring like coat making or anything like that, it is really handy. Now the one we've picked is a handmade one. They're sold by So Essential, but they have a local craftsman who makes them especially for them, and they're made out of a beautiful hardwood, all handmade, and £29.50.
Yeah, and we've done our research, and that is a really good price for a really good quality product, and it's a good size because some of them could be quite small, whereas this one is a decent size.
Yes.
But it doesn't just have to be used for tailoring. Anytime you want really, really sharp seams, really flat seams, then it's good for that. So even if you're a quilter, then using a point presser, not necessarily to get into corners, unless you're doing mitered corners, but to press open little seams and to get a really, really sharp finish on them, then it would work great for that too.
I think it would just improve anyone's sewing because it gives you that perfect finish that you're often looking for. So I think it's something you might have dismissed, but I think it's something that every sewer should have in their room.
So next up, we're getting to the slightly more pricier side now, but one thing we can definitely recommend that revolutionised our sewing about a year ago is the Simflex sewing gauge, and it's predominantly used for marking buttonholes. So it's this brilliant expanding gauge that allows you to spread things equidistantly. It does have lots of other uses, but that's the main thing that we've used it for, and it is one of those luxury items that, because it's $31.99 and it's just for marking buttonholes, and you are well, like I say, it can be used for other things, but predominantly buttonholes. And there are manual ways of doing that. It's one of those things that you convince yourself that you don't need it, but you really want. And we love ours. We've only got one between us, and we do fight over it sometimes. So I do think we need to buy another one at some stage, or put it on our Christmas list. So if you fancy having an easier way of doing buttonholes, then why not treat yourself or put it on your list?
Who doesn't? And then next we found this amazing self-healing board. Now, if you're a quilter, or if you do dressmaking and use a rotary cutter, then you know how good it is to have a self-healing board, and the bigger the better.
The bigger the better. Is that always the case?
Always the way. We have found an A01, which is basically tabletop size. It is huge, but it's only £71. £70.99 from Amazon. And I think that we both need one of them.
I know, because the cheapest that I've found of those before is well over twice that price. So I've got two A1 boards that I put together, and that does allow me to cut most pattern pieces, but the seam in the middle is really annoying. The join is always where you have to manually cut the threads, and I would love an A01 that just fit the whole tabletop.
Oh, it's great. And if you haven't tried using a rotary cutter and self-healing board for dressmaking, we can highly recommend it, especially for fiddly fabrics like jersey, slippery fabrics. You can use your pattern weights, you can use your rotary cutter, and it will save you a lot of time.
It will, yes. And we actually recommended a beautiful set of pattern weights in our sewing gift for our gift guide for sewing treats video. So go and check those out from Foxglove and Field. So the final one that we wanted to mention is something that, again, you often need a special occasion to be bought, and it's a dressmaker's mannequin, and we can highly recommend the Prymadonna, made by Prim. It's actually one in the corner there. We call her Madge. And the reason that we like that particular style is because they come in a range of different sizes, and they can be expanded and decreased, but it's a really well made mannequin. It adjusts just the way you need it to, both in length and in width. It also allows you to fit trousers, and it's just a really, really handy one to have in your sewing room. And also we found that Minerva actually have a couple of these on sale at the moment. So this lovely polka dot spotty version is down from £271 to £207, and that's quite a saving.
That's good.
So if you're interested in the mannequin, we can recommend these ones, and like I said, there's a sale on, so why not?
What's not to love?
But that is it from our more experienced sewist gifts. Now, obviously, there are so many other things that we could have mentioned, but we just wanted to stick to the things that we found to be the most useful for us over the last year or so. And hopefully, you've got some ideas for things you can ask for.
We've also done videos on treats for sewers, and we've also done another video for people who are beginning to sew. So these are the essentials that they'll need for their sewing room that they might not think about when they're getting a sewing machine for Christmas. So go and check those out too.
Okay guys, well we'll see you soon. Happy shopping, and we'll be back with another video. Bye!